All right, I'm just gonna talk for a second about treats. When selecting a treat for shaping, it is really important that you put some thought into this part of the process. So I really like things that are big and easy for my dog to see if I'm gonna be throwing. And I also like things that don't explode when they hit the ground if you're gonna be throwing them. So for tossing treats, I like big chunks of freeze-dried raw. Certainly smaller chunks of freeze-dried raw also work, so that's what these are. So smaller pieces of freeze-dried raw, as well as kibble, and just kind of test out what kibble varieties are gonna work for you. Really important pieces are that they, again, do not explode when they hit the ground, and you wanna test out their bounciness. So I have actually tested how bouncy this kibble is versus, say, these freeze-dried raw chunks. So you wanna know if it's gonna bounce, if it's gonna explode when it hits the ground, and if the dog's gonna be able to see it. If I'm training inside on the mats, this kibble's perfect. If I'm training on the grass, I need something bigger and more visible, so that's where I would go for the freeze-dried raw. Another little note on treats might be that if you're using something really high value intentionally, like meat or cheese, you want to have it prepped ahead of time. So if you are having to rip the string cheese open while you are training, you got problems. You're going to slow down your training. It's going to be very messy. The dog's going to fixate on the cheese rather than fixating on the task, which is what you want them to do. As well as if you're actually tearing pieces off each rep, again, that is just garbage antecedents. So anything that the dog is going to pay attention to that does not give the dog information that you want is garbage antecedent. So tearing at cheese or fiddling with paper, garbage antecedent. It redirects the dog's attention away from what you want the dog to be paying attention to. And then, understand that all of these dry treats are pretty much what I would call medium value. And sometimes for the task, we want really high value. So we might want something really kind of sloppy. By nature, really high value things are sloppier. So just take that into account when you are setting up your training session so that you know the treats are going to be a little bit messier and a little bit harder for you to handle. So you might want to actually just operate out of a container like this rather than a pouch, so you have a better shot of getting one piece at a time rather than a whole handful.